All right, I've got a match loading up. We're going to feature Shinshire versus Korpu. Shinshire was 13th in last week's HEX Bash. While last week's HEX Bash was still while Lasgar's Vengeance was legal, Shinshire's put up consistent results, and that is shown. But these players are currently 1-0 as of round 2.
Let's do it. Man, I do love seeing Winter Moon around again. Winter Moon has always been one of my favorite champions. We have here a Cyclone Shaper. So we've got Exarch, Cottontail, and Seek. That is a second Cottontail, right? Yeah. And we actually have Typhoon Sky Shaper as well, which is an interesting mobilized card. So we've got Cyclone Shaper here. Actions in your hand have cost -1 while it's on the board, which just, reduces the cost of everything. Typhoon Sky Shaper. Put up to 1 exhausted troop you control into your hand when it comes into play with a mobilize effect, and it's quick, so you can play it for 4 at quick, potentially protecting your own troop if needs be. And also, being a surprise blocker a lot of the time as well is quite useful.
On the other side, Kagalichu with an Eternal Seeker in hand, looking like it is playing the Reanimator style Kagalichu Blood and Wild as well. Seems to be a popular choice now. Wintermoon only having a couple months left before rotating out of Standard Constructed, though, with the release of Set 8.
Sad, very sad. But I mean, I think the next rotation is going to be the biggest shake-up of all time. The first one, the decks weren't too different once the rotation happened, but this one should be pretty significant. A lot of staple champions and staple cards leaving.
Players on their starting resources.
Little brown fox peeking its head up on top there, which is the perfect time for it, really. A turn 2 Fox Scout couldn't really be better.
Especially now that Shinshire needs another resource. So that takes it off the deck and does find Sapphire Ice. Won't allow for a play this turn, but likely Fate Weaving a resource up and gets to trade with that Exarch of the Egg.
Yeah, interesting.
Altogether, not too bad.
Guess that's what it's there for, though. Put a couple of spiders in, be a 2-drop, and trade for something that's a problem. We see the Crusader there with Skyguard Steadfast, and we do see also the 4th resource here for Shinshire. Plays the Lanapor Sight. The board isn't too threatening right now, so wants to get those draws online. And yeah, probably wants to get closer and closer to that 6 he needs as well. Notably, we see no removal in Korpu's hand here. Actually, a lot of it just went to the crypt.
Kagalichu's power to bury the bottom 3 cards of deck and put a random card to hand, and you know what? Sometimes that wasn't the hero fall. It almost looked like a replay client faking me out. Monsagi coins. Meanwhile, Wintermoon not picking up a resource, but doesn't need to. Has all sorts of things in hand. Pip Hustler going to change that Underworld Crusader into something else. A 1/2.
That might actually be useful.
A lot less attack, but also at the start of turn giving Korpu a resource, and that'll be the 5th one.
Not finding those resources. That's bad for Shinshire here. Honestly, Korpu doesn't need to play anything here, so the draw card interrupts. Actually not that useful.
With a troop on board, Typhoon Sky Shaper can be mobilized as a 4 cost, but there just isn't one. Cyclone Shaper could be played, and maybe that was the thing to do. It's not quick, however, and that would leave Winchemu with no cards to hold up. I guess right now on this board, it's only representing 4 damage a turn, but still that's a lot. Considering that Wintermoon is down to 6.
Missing these resources has been devastating for Shinshire. He cannot afford to put Cyclone Shaper down and not have an interrupt open. And at the same time, he can't afford to not have a troop on board either. So it's kind of a catch-22 here.
He does have Pipit Hustler into deny right now, though. So Pipit Hustler going to transform Exarch into a worse card. Well, it's blockable. Quashwitch Tusker. No resources able to be held up to deny though, and Eternal Seeker voids that card. Arcane
Yeah,
Focus.
that was brutal.
We've seen several matches where Wintermoon sets up just in time. In this one, that's the Wintermoon stumbling, and that is what happens. It is not sometimes it is not easy for a Wintermoon deck to get things off the board once they are there. Oftentimes relying on the strength of Transmogrifade to turn threats into lesser threats that can be dealt with. But the lesser threats can attack in for a bunch of damage. It unhandled doesn't take out the game. But that is only game one of this match. Let's see if Shinshire Wintermoon can take control and win 2. Korpu up 1-0. This is a 1-0 match in round 2 of the HEX Bash. All right. Starting hands have been drawn. Wintermoon on the play. And an interesting card that I don't think we've seen a bit in Wintermoon, but is plenty powerful. Change course. Like Arcane Focus, looks at the top cards of your deck, 3 instead of 2, but they go into the rest go in your crypt instead of into the deck, which means that Wintermoon can put it back in. Also, completely forgetting that Shinshire is a Cosmic Crown Showdown winner. Look at that sweet animated sleeve. I went back 2 weeks for results, and look at that. Shinshire reminding me that his constructed and limited play is up to snuff, but still is down 1 game.
Incredibly prestigious sleeve, one of the most prestigious sleeves in the entire game. Again, we see that Cockatrice coming in against this Wintermoon. It seems to be a running theme. Obviously, again, in a deck that runs a billion interrupts, having an uninterruptible effect there is quite strong indeed. We do see a really good start here for Shinshire. Potentially the turn to Seer Focus with a change course as well. Change course is an interesting card that does have a place in Wintermoon decks, allowing you to filter your cards to get something you want, and also fill up the crypt for the Wintermoon charge power effect.
Thunderfield Seer prophesying draw a card onto the next action in Wintermoon's deck. And Wintermoon loves those actions. Aka out of Shoku. At the start of your turn, you get a Korpu is going to get a temporary resource, helping accelerate a little bit. That will allow a 4 resource play in this turn, a 5 resources play the turn after. If there's another resource, there is.
It's a good time for that, honestly. We see the change course come down first, picks up another deny, so probably the resource and a focus here. There we go. Those interrupts are so important in this matchup. So keeping hold of those is almost certainly the right idea here. Wintermoon puts looks like a focus and a change course back into the deck, and we see focus here pick up a Pipit Hustler. So not too bad, honestly. But the Korpu hand here is incredibly scary.
2 denies, 2+ cards that need to be dealt with. Cottontail Explorer filling the crypt with a Paw of Yazukan that is now a Rotten Rancor target.
Woo!
Starcaller
spicy meatball.
Ancient.
So Starcaller Ancient combos with the Lanapor Sight. Lanapor Sight adds that prophecy to the cards to draw a card, and Starcaller Ancient says when you draw a prophesied card. Okay, that's what it does. I was wondering if it was enters hand or draws, but it is when you draw a prophesied card, a prophesied card.
Prophesied.
Create a copy of it and put it in your hand. So any prophecies from that Lanapor Sight, potentially additional cards for free, with also the prophecy on. Interesting card, interesting choice.
It's always been powerful. Might have been suppressed a little bit from the existence of Lasgar's Vengeance. Still, removal abounds for 2-cost 2/2s everywhere, much like Lord Blightbark. But that doesn't stop Lord Blightbark from being played. Here we see Starcaller Ancient. Let's see when it'll be played.
Well, I mean, there is potential for Ancient to be used in a smart way where you get the first prophecy with draw a card on it, and then you end up putting Starcaller Ancient down before you play that resource or whatever, and then you trigger it off immediately. Change course draws a change course with draw a card on it and picks up a shard. Looks like 3 resources there off of that change course. Not the best in the world, honestly, but I guess the resource was needed here. Kind of hurting for resources again on Shinshire's side.
Change course is quick also. We saw this earlier. The exact same play, Primordial Kaka twice, and change course in response to get an additional card option and have a better idea of what to discard.
That was another 3 resources there from that change course. Unbelievable. Was one hell of a pocket. We see the Rune Hierophant come down here. Lets it go. Not too worried about that, apparently. Obviously, the Hustler into deny play is available for next turn, so I guess that's his line here. Even available this turn. Goes for the Hustler, reverts, and transforms that Hierophant, and then Strangle comes down and it's met with deny. Talonkeep Watcher is a much lighter threat than a Hierophant, so that worked out well.
3/2 flight, but defensive. Unless you have another Talonkeep Watcher or the other Gargoyle. It's another one. That's likely not to happen this game, so.
This is a cool little potential combo. Bouncing the Pipit Hustler back to hand with Typhoon Skyshaper in order to use it again on a following turn to transform something. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, especially with Mobilize. That Pipit Hustler can be ready. Mobilize the Skyshaper to play -2 cost. Comes in at 4 resources. And Typhoon Skyshaper is also quick. Many quick troops in this deck.
So yeah, there's a lot that could be done with this Acolyte of Shoku now. Basically, providing a free sacrifice every turn for that Ropor gang. Here we see that little sneaky combo. I quite like it, honestly.
It does cost 3 resources, though.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But I mean, Kagu's already at 7, so I mean, there's no pressure here from Winter Moon, so I guess it's not too bad. Into the Unknown as well. That's a card we haven't seen in this matchup or in this deck yet. Maybe in the reserves, maybe just a different build entirely. We do see that Hierophant come down. Hustler's still there, but the resources to play Hustler and Weave are not. 2 resources open for Korpu though, so that probably isn't a huge deal.
A little earlier we had Hero Fall and the Typhoon Skyshaper taking out the other one in hand. Well, no, that was discarded earlier. But anyway, taking out a 4/5 flight. Not very many threats left, just Pipit Hustler.
I mean, there's Windsinger somewhere in there, I'm sure. Thunderfield here is pretty good here. Starting to get that card advantage back. Although it's been a while since we've seen a Cockatrice, so maybe Cockatrice is on the cards here. Into the Unknown is actually very good here because it's a much better answer to Rotpaw than Weave Into Nothing is. Interesting choice there. So goes ahead and uses Weave Into Nothing to stop the Strangle, but that leaves nothing to stop this Seeker, and honestly that's worse. That might have been a little bit trigger happy in my opinion.
But Into the Unknown can still put that back to hand, transform it into another shardless card. That means that not an answer for a Rotpaw gang.
Looks like a change course here with draw 2. That was a pretty strong change course. We do see that resource finally. Been a while since we've seen one of those, and we see the deny here as well. Resource comes in, and that leaves just enough room for a Thunderfield Seer and an interrupt. Or a Weave Into Nothing, Into the Unknown. Doesn't hold it up though. Interesting. Trying to get through his deck as quickly as possible. I mean, change course is quick, so I wonder what he was trying to go for there.
Transmogrifade?
Yeah, maybe.
But that's on a 7 cost right now. That makes a 6 drop, as we saw in a previous match. But Shinshire's at 17 health. It's still a bunch. He'll take a bunch of damage from Eternal Seeker. And we'll be at 12. But I think that was just a turn where Wintermoon just needs to get cards. Get those cards. Do more the next turn. Maybe find Windsinger. Windsinger while you can hold up Deny now. Here's Rotpaw Gang. But even if you don't, now you've got Into the Unknown. Now you've got Deny. And looks like no way to save them on Korpu's side. Only 2 resources up. No way to sacrifice them in response.
A double Into the Unknown is good here, but it is going to leave Shinshire without the resources to interrupt again.
And those are going to be returned to hand as random cards. I guess Nightmares, that's a relevant card right now.
It certainly is. And also, Cyclone Shaper, for once, might actually be empowered and make a difference in this game. Because if you empower that Cyclone Shaper next turn, it's going to put those 2 interrupts down to 1 cost each.
So the Eternal Seeker turned into a Necropolis Coins, discarded to do 2 damage to take 2 health out from Wintermoon. And Nightmares also, when that enters play, if Wintermoon is taking damage this turn, we'll take an additional 2 from the Nightmares being played. And Shinshire's at 8 right now. Back out of Shoku, just doing Shoku things, creating Dreadlings, 5 of them, only 2 Thunderfield Seers. They may or may not block these Dreadlings.
You have to, yeah. So basically those big threats were dealt with, but the threat here from the Acolyte of Shoku completely overlooked. That's huge damage, and with Puck's Daydream on the board, a huge amount of resources as well. So that's 19 resources now, and a spider comes off the top there. And there is no way to block the damage from those Dreadlings. Wow, okay. That was... honestly, it felt very unfortunate for Shinshire. There were a lot of card draw manipulation cards being played. There are a lot of change courses, a lot of arcane focuses, but nothing really of note coming from them. The Cockatrice definitely made a difference there, forcing a discard on a resource a couple of times, meaning that, you know, Wintermoon didn't quite get to the high resource pool that he wanted to be at. Yeah, that was honestly not a matchup I favor Kagalichu in, but Shinshire just didn't get any of the things he wanted off of those change courses.